Welcome to this short exploration of one very big question. What is larger, the human brain or ChatGPT? We will look at this question not just in terms of physical size, but in terms of complexity, capability, and intelligence. At first, GPT helped with our homeworks. Then it started solving our life problems. And at this point, we are just hoping our brains are still the ones in charge. So I figured this is the perfect time to ask, is ChatGPT actually bigger than the human brain? That brings us to the core of this question. What do we actually mean when we ask if something is larger? Are we talking about physical size or structural complexity or cognitive powers, things like intelligence, memory, and learning? Turns out all these matter when we're comparing brains to an intelligent unit. Let's start with the most basic kind of large, physical size. The human brain weighs about 1.5 kilograms. It's about 15 centimeters long, small enough to fit in your skull. But for ChatGPT, it doesn't exactly fit anywhere. It is distributed across thousands of GPUs housed in data centers, probably in different places or even different countries. So yes, physically, GPT is bigger than your brain. But size alone doesn't say much. It is what's inside that really counts. Your brain has around 86 billion neurons, connected by roughly 100 trillion synapses. Each of these connections allows you to think, feel, and learn. GPT, on the other hand, is made of about 1.76 trillion parameters, digital weights learned from data. These aren't neurons, but they function like artificial synapses. So if size is measured in connections, GPT might win. But is this the same kind of thinking? Not quite. So now what we know what GPT, so now that we know what GPT is made of, maybe it's time to ask, how does it actually work? GPT is a transformer-based large language model. It's trained on massive datasets, text from books, websites, conversations, codes, basically a huge slice of the human knowledge. The training goal is very simple but very powerful. Predict the next word. So if you write the sky is, GPT learns to say blue based on what it's seen in millions of similar sentences. This is called self-supervised learning. No teacher is labeling things. The model learns patterns just by reading billions of times. It learns by adjusting its parameters. These are like digital knobs that control how strongly it connects ideas. So GPT doesn't understand meaning the way we do. It just gets very, very good at guessing what comes next. So we could say GPT's superpower is sentence finishing at scale. Knowing how it works helps us understand just how different its inner world is from ours. Your brain is a masterpiece of biological engineering. 2 million kilometers of axons, that's enough to wrap around the Earth 50 times. 650 kilometers of blood vessels, like a plumbing system for thought. These support communication between billions of neurons and help regulate temperature, energy, and even emotion. On the other hand, GPT has no neurons, no blood, no body. Instead, it's made of layers of artificial neurons connected through matrix operations, math, basically. It uses something called self-attention, where it calculates which words in a sentence relate to others and how strongly. Unlike our brain, which forms flexible 3D networks through real physical connections, GPT is flat and digital, all stored in GPU memory. It doesn't grow new pathways when it learns. It doesn't rewire itself when it feels curious. It stays the same unless someone retrains it. So while both systems are complex, one is organic and alive, and the other is statistical and frozen in place. Of course, with different wiring comes different fuel. So let's talk about power. Your brain runs on about 20 watts, about the same as a dim light bulb. So yes, you can literally turn your brain on by eating a banana. GPT, on the other hand, isn't so low maintenance. The training phase, where it learned everything it knows, required thousands of GPUs over weeks, using millions of dollars in electricity. And even after training, daily usage, answering to people's questions, burns 100 to 300 megawatt hours per day, depending on traffic. So when you ask GPT for help with your homework, somewhere a data center starts humming. To put that in perspective, we could say that's as much energy as the city of Springfield from the Simpsons series. But energy and connections are just infrastructure. What about intelligence? We usually look at learning and memory, perception and embodiment, reasoning and problem solving, and language, emotion, and self-awareness. These aren't just skills, they are the pillars of what we call cognition. And if we want to compare two intelligent systems, we have to ask, how do they perform in each of these areas? So let's dive deeper into the comparison of key cognitive abilities. Perception and embodiment. We see, hear, smell, touch, and move through the world. Our thoughts are shaped by real-world experience. But GPT doesn't see or hear. It doesn't have a body. It reads words. So, for example, you recognize sarcasm in someone's voice, but GPT might miss that unless it's told explicitly in text. Learning and memory. We learn from life, from our failures, feedbacks, joy, and even embarrassment. Our brains change physically as we learn. This is called neuroplasticity. New connections form, old ones weaken, and our wiring is constantly being updated. That's how we learn languages, adapt to new jobs, or recover after injuries. But for ChatGPT, once its training is over, it can change. It has no plasticity, it doesn't update itself or form new connections unless humans retrain it. Reasoning and problem solving. We are flexible, we ask why, we explore new different solutions. But GPT solves well-defined problems like coding or logic puzzles based on the patterns. Language, emotion, and self-awareness. We use language to express our emotions, our love, anger, ideas, identity. We feel what we say. ChatGPT but can sound empathetic, but it doesn't mean it. It might call you dear or sweetie, but it's all fake. Maybe GPT believes in fake it till you make it, but it hasn't made it. And of course, we have self-awareness. GPT doesn't. It doesn't know it's GPT. It just processes tokens. So with all these differences laid out in perception, learning, reasoning, and emotion, I figured why not ask the model itself? So I brought this question to ChatGPT that says, are you bigger than the human brain? And this is the answer. I was trained on more than 45 terabytes of text, equivalent to reading over 1 million books. I can process thousands of pages per second. I've seen dialogue from tens of thousands of movies. For a human to learn everything I've seen, it would take many lifetimes. But I don't feel, I don't grow, I don't understand like you do. So no, I am not bigger than the human brain, just different. And that is the point. GPT might be faster, it might know more raw data, but it doesn't know what it means to be human. It doesn't laugh, cry, struggle, or create with purpose. So, next time you wonder who's bigger, remember, we built the machine, and no machine can yet match the depths of a mind that understands itself. Thank you for your attention.